Welcome to Otakin with Dave, coming to you from his palatial fortress in Sin City, where what happens in Vegas is talked about everywhere. Put your hands together for the pastor of positivity whose glass is always at least half full. Here's Dave.
Hey, how we doing out there? I hope you are doing great. I am top shelf and ready to go. Ready to go. This one is, you need to get you a cup of your favorite beverage, maybe get in a Zen type pose, because I'm going to get deep on this one. I'm going to talk about freedom, control, and peace. FCP. Freedom, control, and peace. And I believe they work together, but people, you throw these words around like they're just throwaway words. Freedom, control, and peace. They're so important. And I believe understanding them earlier in life helps you understand them and appreciate and strive to achieve them for more of your life. And the sooner you get them, the sooner you will experience true freedom, control, and peace. Because when I was a kid, freedom was getting to stay out past curfew. Later than I thought freedom was maybe making enough money to buy whatever I wanted. That's freedom. Today, I see freedom as something far deeper. We go back to what Papo talked about to me when I was young. And I was married, but I had a choice between jobs, and he said, pick the one. If you can pay your bills with both of them, pick the one where you get more freedom. And then as my life went on, I realized freedom meant so much more. He was in his late 70s when he told me that. But freedom is about choices. It's about discipline. And it's about peace of mind, all of these things. So what does it really mean to live free, to be in control, and to have peace? Man, a noble endeavor, I would say. So we're going to talk through each one of them, and then we're going to put them all together and talk about how they work together. But let's talk about freedom first. Now, this will not contradict anything else I've said about freedom. Freedom is making space. It's the ability to choose your actions and accept the consequences. It's the freedom to, it's the freedom to take off your clothes and streak right down the middle of a football field at halftime. But you got to understand the consequences. Yeah. Living without unnecessary restraints, especially the ones we put on ourselves. That's why when I talk about freedom, it's making space for yourself, sometimes within yourself. Setting boundaries for others, but setting boundaries for yourself. And a lot of times for freedom, it's setting boundaries, giving yourself more room within your own way of thinking. Living without unnecessary restraints. And unnecessary is a big word there. Some things at certain times you have to have some restraints. The freedom to go out and find a better job. Okay, you get that better job. There are restraints that come with that job, and they're necessary early. I know someone who recently got out of a relationship because they wanted more freedom. In that relationship, they didn't work and they didn't have to pay rent. Now they have a boss and a landlord. That's not a lot of freedom. However, maybe that's what they wanted. That is choosing, but accepting the consequences, those restraints. And then there are choices in our lives. Okay, what do we want to be free from? What does that mean, though? Because true freedom is a fantastic thing. And I'm close. I'm so close. But also, you got to know that trade-off in regards to freedom for that, a short-term sacrifice for the long-term gain. I was so proud of my daughter and my son-in-law. I was talking to them recently, and they're in their early 30s. And they were talking about, I don't talk to them a lot about investing in money and all that because, I don't know, I don't feel qualified, first of all, but I did bring up the fact, 401k, at least put in the match. And I found out both of them were at least doing that, and my son-in-law had been doing much more than that for years. Okay, everybody goes through money challenges, so that is a short-term sacrifice. Their take-home pay is a little less now for long-term gain. Now, that's thinking about freedom in the future. Just a financial example. There are so many other ways. Exercise, putting yourself through some physical restraints now so that you live longer, or you overcome maybe hereditary diseases, or there's something going on. So short-term gain, short-term sacrifice for long-term gain, that can be applied in so many areas. But here's what freedom is not. It's not just doing whatever you want, whenever you want. That's the popular definition. Actually, that's chaos. Do it whenever you want, whatever you want, whenever you want. When is whenever? You don't know. What is whatever? You don't know. It sounds good. It really does sound good. And sometimes when we're on vacation, we'll do that. Just whatever, whenever. However, that is not freedom. That's chaos. Also, freedom is not escaping responsibility. True freedom comes with a lot of responsibility and ownership. If you remember back when in the Yo Talk on Freedom, what is true freedom, talked about owning it and owning the responsibility of it, and that requires you to say no a lot. But every time you say yes, you're giving away a little bit of your freedom. And yes is fine. Understand the consequences. But freedom is not escaping responsibility. True freedom comes with a lot of ownership. Ownership equals responsibility. Also, freedom is not the absence of discipline. Discipline is what gets you freedom. On every example I said earlier, that discipline pays for your freedom. Freedom is not getting out of class early. Freedom is not a clear schedule. It's not escaping responsibility, and it is surely not the absence of discipline. Discipline buys freedom. So, financial freedom. 65% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That's today. Freedom here doesn't mean being wealthy. It means not being trapped by debt. Now, we all go through it. Sometimes we go through it, we get better, we get in it again. I can tell you every few years I have a new plan. I'm 60 now. I have a 7-year plan. I've really got a 3-year plan that's going to get me to the 7-year plan. So that's it. And I check it constantly. 65% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Freedom is not being wealthy. It's not being trapped by debt. And time. Some people's time, they spend it more foolishly than they do their money a lot of times. Did you know the average American spends 3 hours a day, looking at their phone? Not talking on their phone. I don't even know why I do that anymore. I don't talk on my phone much. 3 hours a day, that is 45 days a year. Now that's freedom of your time. Just hand it over to a distraction. I am guilty as well. I don't think I do 3 hours a day. Surely not. I should look. I think that keeps up with that kind of stuff. If I do, 2 hours of it is sitting on the toilet scrolling and laughing at the most ridiculous reels you've ever seen. However, that's it. That is it. You're handing over your time to a distraction. And then one of the biggest challenges with freedom is we have too many choices. We do. People with fewer choices have more direction. Clear options are easier to pick. However, we are so overwhelmed with all of our choices. Clear Options report 37% higher satisfaction in life than drowning in choices. Back in the day, simple life. Live a simple life. I've done talks on simple life. When I'm happier and more satisfied, freer, have more control, and more peace is when I simplify. And I usually do that around the first of the year. Good New Year's resolution. And I know that it's true. So why don't I keep it simple? I'm constantly having to simplify. We could have a whole O-Talk on that. We have, but we could have an updated one. Simple is better. You're 37% happier, more satisfied when you're not drowning in choices. So let's talk about it. What are 5 steps to increase your freedom, to obtain freedom? First of all, you have to define what freedom means to you. Financially, with your time, emotionally, with your relationships, whether it's husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, best friend, BFFs, your inner circle. What does that mean? Financially, it's just, hey, I'm not burdened by debt. I'm not wealthy, but I'm not burdened by debt. Time. What have I not done that I've wanted to because I ran out of time? Emotionally, what's got me stirred up? What makes me happy? What makes me upset? What can I do to increase the happiness and decrease the being upset? And then relational. How can I be a better boyfriend? How can I be a better best friend? All those other things. What do I want? What are the toxic people in my circle that I need to? I think I've weeded all those out. How do I keep them out? All of that stuff. That's what freedom means. So define that. It's a very personal thing. Then second thing, eliminate dependencies. Now, what I mean by that is it touches on the first one, what freedom means to you. The second one follows up. Debt's crushing me. What debt is crushing me? And how do I get out of that? These people make me feel bad when I'm around them. Okay, let's list them and let's not be around them. Remember, it doesn't say reduce dependencies. It says eliminate dependencies. Habits, bad habits. I've got some good friends who, if you told me they would ever quit smoking, I would have said, you out of your mind. I got some good friends. If you told me they quit drinking, I said, no. Yeah, for a day, for 8 hours while they're asleep. Understand what habits are controlling you. And that might not be that bad of a habit, but you're spending too much time doing that to the point to where it is really controlling and impacting your freedom. I don't know. It could be a video game. It could be you have to see every college football game from game day to the last one on the West Coast, maybe even Hawaii. Eliminate dependencies. Then build self-discipline. Just small things, small daily wins. I didn't do that and it created a pocket of time. That in itself is good. But here's what I did with that time. I created the freedom, created some space, and used it. I might have used it just to sit still and relax and find something to be grateful for. Fantastic. But build that self-discipline. I'm going to create a pocket of 20 minutes and go for a 20-minute walk. I'll walk 10 and then walk back. Okay, self-discipline. You did that, and that's a win. And then I go back to it. I struggle with this. I'm getting better. But say no more often. Protect your priorities. Understand them. Because think about it. If you don't define what freedom is, if you haven't eliminated dependencies, if you haven't built self-discipline in, you're not protecting your priorities. You're going to say no just as much as you do now. Maybe you're going to say yes just as much as you do now, maybe even more. Say no more. Say no more. That creates freedom. And then instead of, it goes back to the one we said earlier, plan long-term and act short-term. Make those sacrifices now for future freedom. Freedom is important. Freedom is more than just something that people scream in movies or they use it flippantly. No, personal freedom is key. All right, let's talk about control. Whoa, control is a bad word. Controlling. Oh, they're just so controlling. All right, control, it's the power to direct your actions, responses, and attitude. See? That is your control. Power to direct. It's my power to direct my actions, my responses, and my attitude. That's the control we're talking about. I'm not controlling your actions, your responses, and your attitude. I can't control that. I'm controlling me. It's also the ability to set boundaries and not control other people. That's key. I'm setting my boundaries. Okay? If I don't let you in, I'm not controlling you. I'm controlling my boundaries. If I don't let myself do that, go to that place, be around those people, things I have set for myself, I'm not shunning people. I'm taking control of my actions, responses, and attitude. People get that mixed up. People call people controlling all the time. And a lot of times it's true. But when someone stands up for themselves and they're controlling their world, that's not popular. You take responsibility instead of blaming other people. I think after you are 22, just pick that out of there. You got to quit blaming other people. You're an adult. If you're unhappy, if you're in a bad situation and you stay there, then you're letting other people control you. They may not even choose to control you. You're allowing it, and you're almost asking for it because you haven't set boundaries. You're not taking responsibility. And we can talk through that, and I know but David, you just don't understand. Nah, I do. I do. To some degree, I am correct. To some degree. And I'm not trying to control your mind. So, what control is not? It's not manipulating or dominating other people. I've had people say that I am controlling at work, homework and play. I allow them to do whatever they want. I very seldom in my personal life tell people no. They have learned over time not to ask certain things. However, I do not manipulate or dominate other people in regards to their decisions about their lives. No, do not do that. No, that's not the control we're talking about. Also, the control we're talking about, it's not eliminating uncertainty. Yeah, I'm in control. I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but I'm in control. Life's going to surprise you. Life's going to surprise you. I'm working on one right now, and the only reason I haven't put it out yet is I think it can get better and tighter, but don't ever say it can't happen to you. Life will always surprise you. So the fact that I've achieved some control doesn't mean I have all the answers. I have answers, a lot of wrong answers, but there's always uncertainty. So don't think that control means you have all the answers. Also, it's not perfection. There's no such thing as perfection. I came close the other day with bacon. It was almost perfect. Of course, bacon in any way is fantastic, but this bacon was almost perfect. Not quite. But control means focus. Focus. Attention to detail. Understanding what's important. Not obsession. When you're obsessed, actually you're not in control. That obsession is controlling you. So control, it gets a bad word. You know what it reminds me of? And remember Wall Street? And Michael Douglas's character said, greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Oh, everybody's like, control gets that same thing. Control, oh, no, control bad. Control bad. No, we're talking about be in control of yourself and your choices and your reactions and your attitudes. People with higher self-control report 50% higher life satisfaction. That goes back to what I said earlier. The quicker in life you get or acquire self-control, the quicker you achieve that 50% higher satisfaction rate. And it's not because they resist more temptation. It's because they avoid some altogether. I live in Vegas. I've lived here 2 years. I haven't gambled one penny. One penny. Although I've been tempted because my buddy James will play at Gillies and we'll take a 15-minute break and he'll go out and come back and hand me a little slip where he made $1,000 or $2,000 on our 15-minute break. I'm thinking, I got to learn to gamble. But no, I just don't. I have an addictive personality, but thankfully that temptation is not there. But I just avoid it. Now, you push a Cinnabon or a Krispy Kreme cart by me, I might not fare so well. The thing is, though, with that self-control, higher satisfaction, 72% of adults report stress is coming from a lack of control. Their life is out of control. You been there? Are you there now? You can be there. Oh, I've been there many times. I feel like things are just out of control. It's almost like I think of a catfish with the slick skin. Have you ever felt a catfish or an eel? The tighter you squeeze it, it squirts through. Reminds me of 38 Special song, Hold On Loosely. The more you try to control it, it just gets away from you. That's the way it is. And stress, eats you alive. It can motivate you. SWD, stress, worry, and distraction. Stress is a big one. 72% of adults report stress because their life is out of control. And then I'm telling you, man, consistency, consistent routines. I'm very predictable, and some of my predictability is there's no telling what I'm going to do. Pretty predictable, though. But a consistent routine like sleep or exercise or what you eat, that reduces the risk of chronic illness by up to 40%. All of those things are under your control. I realize, I hear you. I can hear you. But Dave, I try to sleep. I just can't sleep. I get it. Yeah. However, sleep, rest, relaxation, all of that wound up together. You can control that in some way. There's some things you can do. Same with exercise and what you put in your body. That reduces chronic illness by 40%. And you are in control of that. Unless somebody is keeping you awake, keeping you from exercising, and feeding you a lot of sugar. Yeah, I guess it could happen. So what are 5 ways to increase your control? These are easy. They're common sense. However, they're hard to do sometimes. First one, control your inputs. Garbage in, garbage out. Control your inputs. What do you read? What do you watch on TV? What do you watch on the computer? What do you listen to? It's truly garbage in, garbage out. And I'm not big on criticizing what other people decide their inputs are going to be. I listen to some crazy music. I don't know what they're saying. A lot of times, I like the crunch. I like the drums. I like the adrenaline rush. If I heard or saw the words printed out, I don't know that I wouldn't listen to it, but it's, that might be harmful. I don't think about it. But what I take in, what I engage in, I'll give you a good example. There for a while, and I've still reduced it, but there for a while, I completely cut out talk radio. Most of it's political. I do podcasts from time to time, but I've even scaled back on that, except for Talking with Dave. The reason is I get all revved up. Sometimes I get angry, and that may lead into something else. I've heard comedians talk about they got to be careful a couple of hours before they go on stage what they take in. Because if they see something that upsets them, they won't be as funny. They need to be funny. They need to be in a good mood. What you put in really does impact you. And it impacts your control. Okay? So control your inputs. Second thing, master. Be the master, not only of your domain, but of your schedule. If you don't control your time, somebody else will. That's where saying no comes in. Dave Ramsey says, if you don't tell your money where to go, you'll wonder where it went. So true with money, so so true with time. You ever spent at the end of the day thinking, I didn't get anything done today. What did I do? Yeah, you probably said yes a lot, but master your schedule. In order to master your schedule, you got to have a schedule. And I go on and on about this. Schedule time to do nothing. Here's 2 hours. I'm going to do nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's hard to do for 2 hours. However, have a schedule is control. A schedule is also freedom. Yep. You can create that space. Master it. Okay? Again, number 3, pause before reacting. Don't react, respond. Remember, the topic is control. Control shows most in moments of pressure. I was talking to a group this week about anger management. And this was a pretty rough group. It was a group that has a lot of trouble, whether it's addiction or trouble with the law or definitely some anger issues. And every one of them said the best, and the older they got, the more this came out, but every one of them said 2 things. Well, actually, I'll say 3. First of all, walk away. When I'm angry, I got to walk away. Everybody said, pause before I respond or react. Absolutely great. And the third one is just think, is this worth going to jail for? That's a little extreme, but it's very true. Very real world. So pause before reacting. I would say pause before responding. Okay? Control your inputs, master your schedule, pause before reacting. And then again, the boundaries. You decide what you will and will not tolerate. Tolerate's a good word. Tolerance, I've talked about tolerance. I believe in tolerance, but there's certain things we don't tolerate. And if you do, you're just as guilty as the person that does it. You can apply that to anything. I don't care. Go ahead, Randy. Apply it to anything. If you tolerate something intolerable, you might as well do it yourself. So setting boundaries is you decide what is yes or no. Probably not in the middle. Set those boundaries. And then in control, you've got to focus on what is controllable. You can't control a lot. You can't control the wind. You can't control the weather. I love the sailor. I've got a good friend who sails. Hey, Larry, how you doing, buddy? But one time he says, you can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. I love that. Love that. You can use wind that you may not even like to take you in a direction you want to go. It takes some skill. So does control. It's a serenity prayer. You act on things you can. Don't get upset by things you can't. But knowing the difference in those two. Focus on the controllable. All right? Are you ready to get a piece of me? Let's talk about peace. Peace. What is peace? I think for our purposes here, it's just that inner calm that comes from integrity. You're living true to your values. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people have done some bad things. Okay, that's not what this is. You've done bad things. Are you doing bad things? Move on. Give yourself a break. We'll get to the how-tos in a minute. But it's an inner calm from knowing at the end of the day, I'm a good person. I put in a good day's work. I worked hard. I thought about other people. I was more empathetic than selfish today. It's not all about me. And I stood up for things I believed in, even though it was unpopular. Woo! That's some peace right there. I'll take a piece of that. Also, it's a settled spirit that doesn't require everybody's approval. You don't have to like me. I like me. And I like me for the right reasons. That's peace. I don't have to do what you say. I don't have to say the words you want me to. I don't have to do those activities. I don't have to walk your line just so you'll like me. And I'm okay with that. I am even okay if you don't like me because of that's peace. That is a settled spirit. Giddy up. And also, there is a harmony between freedom and control. We talked about freedom. We talked about control. It's that harmony. That is peace. They all work together. So you could say peace is the harmony between freedom and control. That's tattoo worthy. I could put it right across here. Let's talk about what peace is not. And this is interesting. Peace does not mean a lack or an absence of conflict. Oh, no. No, sometimes peace requires conflict. It's not passive. No, peace through strength. You hear that a lot. It requires courage to choose integrity over popularity. Yeah, and sometimes that creates conflict. It's also not isolation. A lot of people, that's alone time and that's peaceful time and that's very necessary. But peace includes empathy and connection with other people. You can just go off somewhere and sit in a hut. I've heard a lot of stories about and seen on TV, people go off isolation in the wilderness for a while. They come back and they need that time. But that's not true peace. True peace includes connection with other people and empathy. It does. True peace. So peaceful is more about environment. We're talking about inner peace to where, all right, everything's not perfect, but I'm in a good place. I'm in a good place. That harmony between freedom and control. 1 in 5 adults live with mental anxiety, and it's rooted from unresolved conflicts or a lack of integrity. And a lot of times that lack of integrity is what caused the conflict. I thought that would be higher. 1 in 5, 20%. Yeah. 60% of adults say they feel worse about themselves after looking at social media. I got to tell you, I would drop it. But I miss you guys so much, your comments and everything. For some of you, that's the only way you see me. And it's the only way I see you. And I just can't pull the trigger. But that is a telling statistic. And this is not kids. 60% of adults feel worse about themselves after scrolling social media. And a lot of times it's because peace can't come from comparison. Man, I'm going to have my body tattooed with peace sayings. Peace can't come from comparison. And that's what we do on social media. How many clicks did they get? Oh, look at them. Oh, my goodness. Oh, compared to them. Oh, my goodness. Oh, he's done so well. Oh, I feel bad about myself. Oh, why couldn't I do that? Look at that. Come on. Yeah, that's why I love to look at comedians and puppies. They make me laugh and sometimes cry. I cried at a puppy the other day. Looked a lot like Ruby, and I was just, yeah. Strong. So there's also a forgiveness link. Get ready. Studies show people who forgive freely report 25% lower stress levels and greater physical health. Forgive freely. You forgive for yourself. Yeah. We did this a few talks ago. Forgiveness allows you to have peace. If you're holding a grudge, you can't have peace. Or you can't have true peace. If you take satisfaction in someone else's bad luck, you have no integrity and you have no peace. That's strong. So 5 steps to get a higher level of peace. First of all, you got to know your values. Integrity is the foundation. How can you feel good about yourself if you don't know what you believe? It's okay. Peace is okay with not being liked. How many times do we have to say this? Freedom, control, and peace. It's okay. Peace beats popularity. I'll tell you that. If you don't like it, you're not much of a friend. Peace is okay with not being liked. Also, empathy. I talked on the last talk, and thank you for the kind words. Whew. When I said, when your selfishness is higher than your empathy, peace is not possible. I've been overwhelmed with stories agreeing with that and talking about tough times in their life, or some admitting, I realized that about myself, and I didn't realize why I was so miserable on my self-discovery journey. It's because I didn't care about anybody else. You have snatched the pebble from my hand. Understanding other people, other challenges, other situations reduces your conflict. It does. Going back to integrity a little bit, keep your word. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Papa, if you keep your word, even if it costs you money, that's what his business advice was. Follow through, even when it's hard. If you'll say you'll do it. If you say you will be there, I'll be here Thursday. Okay, be there Thursday. That helps with your peace. Because hey, it was rough, man. Whew. I said I'd help them move, and I was so sore the next day, but I did a good thing. And then release what you can't control. Sometimes peace is found in letting go. I recently saw a thing that said, I've carried the weight long enough. Now it's just about setting it down. Piece by piece. Oh, another word, another spelling of peace. All right. So we've talked about it, man. Freedom, control, and peace. I told you it's going to be heavy. Woo! Told you it's going to be heavy. But let's talk about how you can't separate the three. You can't. You don't believe me? You can't. Freedom without control is chaos. Okay? So you got to have freedom and control. You may have choices, but without any discipline, you're going to burn them up. No. It's just picking names out of a hat. So freedom without control, that's chaos. Control without freedom, that's oppression. You may be disciplined, but it feels like you're in a cage. You can't do that. You got to have them both. And then peace without either one of those things, that's just an illusion. You can pretend to be calm, but you're going to be restless because you have no control. You have no freedom. And they strengthen each other too. Freedom fuels control. When you know you are free to choose, you're more willing to take responsibility, which is control. It fuels it. Control sustains freedom. Self-discipline, it prevents you from losing your freedom to all those things we said: debt, addiction, poor habits, toxic people. So self-discipline, we talked about that. Those people are happy. That's control. Control yourself. That sustains your freedom. The more you say yes, the less freedom you have. And then here's the cool thing. Peace multiplies both of them. When you live with integrity, when you, I'll say, protect your freedom and strengthen your self-control, you have less inner conflict. So let's walk through that again. You live with integrity. You protect your freedom and strengthen your self-control. That's how peace multiplies freedom and control. I love it. I love it. Courage. We pull courage from freedom. You're not trapped by a fear of what if. You've got options. You've built them in. You get courage from control. You trust yourself. You know you can steer through any storms now. I've been through this before. You got the freedom to do it. And you get courage through peace. You don't need applause. You don't need a laugh track to your life. You know you're funny. People are behind you. You don't have to hear it, though, because you have peace. You're anchored in your self-worth. So together, these create an unstoppable momentum. The freedom to dream, the control to build something, and the peace to make it through it. If a person has freedom but no control, they win the lottery, and what do? They're broke in 5 years. If a person has control but no freedom, they'll work 80 hours a week. Yeah, they got plenty of money, but they're miserable and they're shortening their life. A person has peace with no freedom or control, they convince themselves they're fine. But they've settled for less, and that will end up destroying the peace. That's not peace. They're fooling themselves. So the one who has all three, they take risks, they stay steady, and they sleep well at night. So how do you do that? David sounds, yeah, you've said it over, and I get it. But how do we do that? You got to audit your life regularly. Where am I losing these things? Where am I losing my freedom? Where am I losing my control? Where's my peace? Where am I losing that? Yeah. And because you're doing it. You're doing it. So look at it and single out those areas. And then align those choices that you make. Don't just pick good actions. Pick ones that give you these three things. Ask, is that going to give me more freedom, control, or peace? And then you've got to balance the short-term and long-term. The trade-offs, they're natural. You use control now for freedom later, and peace always. And then you've got to check your integrity. You can't take shortcuts. You can't try to take the easy way to any of these three. If you compromise here, you're going to lose peace, then you're going to lose control, and then your freedom's gone. Check that integrity. Do the right thing. Do what you say you're going to do. Don't take shortcuts. And then I like to call them compounding habits, just small disciplines. Each one reinforces the other. When I do this, it helps this. When I create this space by saying no and then put something in it that's productive, that's freedom and control. That gives me peace. So you can combine. Will this give me any of the three? How can I make it give me all three? So tie them together. Tie them together. Freedom gives you choices. Control gives you direction. Peace gives you rest. And together, all three, it gives you courage. I got one coming up on courage I'm excited about. All these three together, you'll have so much courage and confidence. It's going to be great. You don't have to wait for the perfect timing either. Start now. Choose these three. Choose freedom, practice control, and protect your peace. And you'll find momentum you didn't even think was possible. It's not a theory. This is not a theory. It's a way of life. Do it. So stay out of the chaos. Freedom and control. Control without freedom is slavery to yourself. And then peace without either is impossible. I don't care what age you are. It's never too late. I renew myself in this constantly. I am right now. Oh, hands in the air. It's never too late. Freedom starts with one choice today. Control is strengthened by one action. And peace arrives when you realize you stay true to yourself. You're living free. You're living in control, and you're in peace. And you'll never live small when you do that. So I hope this hit home. Tell me what you think. It's simple. It's simple. It's not easy. It is not a daily struggle. It's a daily endeavor, and you can do it. All right? Thanks so much for hanging out. Hit me up at davidotalks.com, david@otalks.com. I appreciate it. Hit otalks.com. There's some stuff on there. I'm going to start hitting my dates. I had a great talk this morning. It's fantastic. And so I'm going to start putting the areas I'm in. And if I'm in your area, holler at me. Hey, man, I got to eat. We'll go grab a bite. So thanks so much. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging on. But most of all, Thanks for talking with Dave. Giddy up.